Hi guys. Now we have talked about the basic document automation using different technologies such as VBA in Microsoft Office and Python. I'm going to show you another big theme in using technology in finance and accounting space, which is ETL. Someone, somebody else like to call it ELT, whichever way is fine. So ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. So I want you to take a minute and think about ETL. Almost every single wallpapers we do, whether it's a text wallpaper or accounting wallpaper or FP&A forecast worksheet, it's essentially a data extract first, and then we either load the data or transform the data before we load it into some sort of a system to get our work done, right? So our entire work is involved and with ETL pretty much, and which is why ETL is very important for us. And I want to show you the different ways you can do ETL to basically make your work much easier with different technologies. First one I'm going to show you is using, again, using very basic VBAs and formulas to get something easily done in Excel for some very powerful use case. Many years ago, a real estate company reached out to me and said, well, they have this custom cash flow statement, which they like to present to their owners. And it's a huge real estate company. And they have more than like 30 entities, and each entity holds a couple of buildings throughout the city. So and on the screen, this is what their custom cash flow statement looks like. And this is different from a standard cash flow statement in the financials, of course. So and they want like start with net operating income, and also they have changes in the balance sheet. On that part, it's pretty similar. So, and if I want to show you here is they previously, before any sort of ETL automation or technologies, they basically manually prepare this cash flow statement. So they got 4 CPAs prepare this custom cash flow statement for an entire week. And the reason why is multifold. So if I open up one of their trial balances, and you can tell they have about here they have about 35 entities, and each of the entity have more than 800 accounts. So that's a lot of accounts they have to account for in the cash flow statement. That's more than, do a rough math, that's more than 40,000 accounts right there, right? So no wonder it took 4 accountants like entire week to compile a cash flow statement. Um, but if you think about the cash flow statement, they all like each of the account go into different categories here and on this screen. And when I look at their request, I was like, well, first of all, take a step back. We can easily, if we can classify based on the account numbers into different categories, we can easily automate this cash flow, right? And this is the first thing I did. So I classify different accounts based on the account numbers they have into different categories for their cash flow statement. And then when I come back here, all I need to do is I need a way to load the data, like to load the trial balance into this Excel spreadsheet. And after I load it, essentially, I just need to transform the data using the simple formulas I have in Excel, right? So this is a classic and a very basic ETL things you can do to make sure like your wallpaper is automated, right? I'm gonna show you really quickly how I compile this custom cash flow statement, which used to take a whole week by 4 accountants. So I'm gonna import the prior period trial balance first. Let me navigate to this folder. And let me first load the prior year trial balance. And after the prior year trial balance is loaded, let me import the second trial balance. Now I have both dates are populated. The cash flow statement is completed by now. So if I zoom out, and you can tell like it took me less than like a minute to finish this after I build the ETL workflow, right? Work process. And similarly, you can use the same concept to automate a lot of your wallpapers, right? Have your wallpaper structured like input, process, and output, right? Building formulas or VBA code or Google Apps scripts or Python codes as part of the process, load the data, get the output right away. And this is one of the classic designs you can do with a lot of wallpaper automation. So I showed you this Excel-based automation, and I want to, like, I know many of you are using, Google Workspace, right? Same thing for Google. You can use Google Sheets for a lot of easy ETL tasks as well. So first, let me show you on this spreadsheet. I have this table here, and on the destination Google Sheet, here I have basically nothing on this page, right? And in Google Workspace, equivalent to VBA, Google has what they call it app script, which is one type of Node JavaScript. It's a one kind of a programming language, and this is where you can automate a lot of automations. For example, if I just want to click a button, and then I want this table to appear from here to the destination Google Sheets, I can easily do that. So let me copy my POs. And you can tell it doesn't take me a minute, and now it's already done. So if I go to that destination Google Sheets and see it's appearing here, right? So that's a very easy copy and paste automation you can do using app scripts. So let me show you what the app scripts looks like behind the scene, right? And this is copy and paste. Those are less than 14 lines of code here. This is where I basically did that, extract the data and copy that data to that destination worksheet. So, and this is essentially how it's done in the background. And I know what some of you might be thinking, copy and paste is boring, right? What about something else? We can easily convert this table into a journal entries as well, accounting journal entries, I mean. So if I go to the destination Google Sheets, I see I have a blank tab here showing debit and credit, amount, vendor, and memo. So here, let's say if I want to post PO columns, has in the memo column here, and I want to convert this amount dues into a journal entries by debiting my expenses account and crediting AP, I could certainly do that, right? Let me select the data here, and I will say, let's convert the data to journal entry. Let's see how it does it, right? And you can tell it finished the script really quickly. And let me go to the destination Google Sheets, and you can tell the data is all here with POs being in the memo field and those vendors and the amount, right? So those are the very quick automations you can do using Google Apps Script. And what else, right? Like for example, in this Google Drive, I have about 19 CSV files here. And if I open one CSV file, you can tell I have in this CSV file, I have two simple columns. First column is about ACH amounts. Second column is paid to which vendor, right? By vendor number here. So I have 19 files. I could simply copy and paste all the data or import the data into a Google Sheets if I wanted to, but that's manual. That's no fun at all. So alternatively, we can just simply write a app script to do a more automated ETL. And here, let me create a blank Google Sheet tab, call it demo. And then all I need to do is to trigger a code. I said CSV sum. So let me run this code and see how quickly Google Sheet is summarizing based on my code here, right? So now you can tell Google is basically running in the background and copying those files into the Google Sheet based on the code. And now I have successfully grouped all CSV files stored in the CSV trial folder. So all I need to do, and this thing is essentially summarized for me within this tab. And what if I want to do automatically summarize it in a pivot table, right? How do I do that? Of course, you can do a simple app script to do the pivot table for you as well. And let me pivot the ACH files. And see, this is how quickly it's done, right? And this is a very basic ETL demonstration for Google Workspace, it's specifically for Google Sheets as well. And let me go into app script here. And all what I'm showing you here are just 4 different code examples I embedded in this Google worksheet. And you can certainly do it yourself as well. And if you don't know how to write a code, that's easy. Ask ChatGPT, right? Ask Anthropic, and it's gonna give you an answer pretty quickly. All right. Now we have showed you some basic local ETL for Excel and Google Sheets. We're going to move to a more advanced ETL examples using Python. Now we're going to use Python to do some automation with ETL. So many of you will have this question in your mind. I'm not a software developer. How do I use Python, the programming language that I have no idea about? So this is a huge roadblock for all the folks working in finance and accounting. Like we don't know software development and we're not developers ourselves. And we really don't know how to build a program to do automation. So, and this is particularly true about 2 years ago. However, with AI alongside of us now, AI can easily build all those Python programs for us to automate a lot of our work. And I'm going to show you a Python code AI built for me to automate some of the ETLs that is a very typical finance and accounting use case. So in this folder, I have 2 Excels. One Excel is sales by customer. Another is cost of sales by customer. So let's examine the data first. In sales by customer, I have 3 columns: transaction date, customers, and the revenue amount. So I would expect to have similar structure in cost of sales. Again, I have date, customers, and cost of sales. So oftentimes, those two different spreadsheets come from different systems. The sales by customer may come from a storefront system or revenue system. Cost of sales may come from inventory costing system or some other systems we may have. So in a typical finance and accounting use case, we oftentimes are required to reconcile data, right? And this is a perfect example. So I have those dates, I have those customers. I want to match the transactions by dates, by customer, and then I can join the data together between sales and cost of sales. So I can figure out how much my profit or loss is from all of those transactions matched, right? So then this is a very typical use case. What I did here is I asked AI to write a um, matching program and also provide me a front page UI so I can see how the data matched and what are the data unmatched, right? So here, this is the program written by AI, and I got 50 lines of code here, which is not complicated. And then I already launched this program in the backend. All I need to do here is to launch it in the front end to let all of you see how it works. So if I open it here, you can tell it automatically open up my browser, and it's a local host, meaning I'm running it locally. So I call it a revenue data reconciliation, and I have those two functions AI provides for me. Like I can choose my sales file, I can drop it in here, and then I can choose my cost of sales file, I can drop it in here. And let's see, what kind of magic it does, right? So first of all, let me drop the cost of sales in here, a sales spreadsheet in here, and then cost of sales in the second one. So here it gave me an option called merge data, right? Let me click this, and I will say the data being merged. And here I can say, well, I have a new column created called merge, and the one marked with both basically have the data being matched on dates and also the customer. And the left only basically means it can find the sales, it couldn't find the cost of sales. And then data on the right is essentially I can find the cost of sales, I couldn't find the revenue data, right? And I can download this matched result as a CSV file, or I can expand it and see how it looks. And I can make it bigger. I can search some of the days. Let's say I want to search uh, any day in 2020, like January 26th, right? And here I got three results popping up here. And all those are basically done within that 50 lines of code, like AI wrote for me, right? And if I scroll down, I also separated out the cost of sales with not found for those revenue transactions. And I have sales not found for cost of sales transactions. And then I have those ones being cost of sales and cost of sales being matched. And also I have a column created called gross margin, right? And some of the sales are essentially have a loss. Some of the sales are profitable, right? So I can populate another column basically saying, well, for the ones that are profitable, I call it good deal. For the ones that are loss position, I call it bad deal, right? All of those, again, guys, are in, done within this 50 lines of code that AI easily wrote for me like in no time. And this is where I want to show you what you can do with AI alongside you. You can really automate your ETL process with Python. Of course, Python, VBA, or Google Apps Scripts are not the only tools that can help you to do ETL. There are plenty of desktop-based ETL applications or cloud-based ETL applications that can help you to do exactly the same thing, but probably much easier and much faster. So, for example, Alteryx being one of the easiest and most popular desktop-based ETL tools out there can really help you to do the work. For example, for us, we can just drag those two Excel files very easily into our Alteryx workflow. I have sales and cost of sales here. And then all I need to do is to basically join the data and then match the data by date and by customer. And then after I join the data, I will see what the data I wanted. I just need the date, cost of sales, and revenue number. I probably want to move the revenues before cost of sales. And then after that, I will create a formula and I will add a column, say this profit, and I will create a formula for revenue minus cost of sales, and the data type should be double. And by now, I essentially, if I look at the select again, I basically have the matched transactions all in here. And I'm ready to output the data to another spreadsheet. And I will just pick Microsoft Excel. I think I want to export to the same folder. So I will go to the same folder and I will name it match sales and cost of sales. I will click save and here it's ready to be run. After less than half of the second to run the workflow. Now, if I go to the folder, I will see this file basically created by Alteryx, matched sales and cost of sales. Let me double click. And this is essentially what Alteryx has done for us, right? So this is one of the quickest ways to build ETL. If you have Alteryx or the similar desktop-based ETL solutions. But desktop-based solutions have a number of shortcomings. Like first of all, it's not controlled tightly by SOX control environment, right? Like once you build a workflow, or you can easily like delete a part of a process, or someone can just easily change and mixed up the data, or it's prone to error, right? So and that's why there are also very popular cloud-based ETL solutions out there that is controlled, like the whole environment can be easily controlled within a SOX contained environment. And also, biggest advantage is the data directly stored on cloud, and you can connect to a variety of data sets, data sources that like your company have, like different ERPs, NetSuite, for example, and you can basically directly connect your data source with NetSuite reports before you start building those ETL pipelines yourself. So for our purposes, I will just showing you one of the most popular cloud-based ETL product out there, which is Domo. Domo is also being a public company, and they provide one of the most sophisticated cloud-based ETL pipelines out there. For our purposes, because our files are offline, so I'm just gonna upload this cost of sales and sales data sets in here. Let me first upload the sales data set. And I will go ahead, create a next, and I will call it sales by customer demo, and I will save and run this data set. And immediately, Domo basically save this data set into Domo database. And you don't have to use Domo database. You can configure it to save the data to your own database, but this is just for a demo. And then after I uploaded sales by customer, I can also do this for cost of sales. So here, let me do cost of sales. And again, I will call it cost of sales by customer demo. I will save and run. So just in a few seconds, two datasets will be ready in Domo for me to start building ETL. Now you see like I have both datasets in there, and all I need to do is I'm gonna create a ETL pipeline and to join the data within Domo, right? And this is very similar to what Alteryx can do. So I first can choose my dataset after I input the dataset into the ETL pipeline. So let me choose sales in here. And again, for this one, I will choose cost of sales. After that, I need to join both data. So let me drag those two dataset into join function. And to join the data, I just need to select the matching columns. And I will see the error duplicate column name date just because those two different data sets actually have the same column names. But don't worry, like there are like automatically autofix for that. So once you click autofix, it basically fixes the duplicate names from one of those data sets. It's automatically drop the duplicate columns. So in the resulting data set, you don't have to worry those columns being duplicated. With that, I will say, well, I'm ready to output this. And let me output this, and I will call it matched sales and cost of sales. So after I click done, I'm ready to run this, right? So and all I need to do is click save and run, and it will be running in cloud, um, just in a few seconds. So let's patiently wait for this, and you can tell this pipeline is successfully run. And because it's cloud-based, and there are a lot of things you can do, so you can schedule you can basically schedule this ETL data flows, and based on a particular triggers, you can trigger the running of the data flow if there is an underlying data changes, or you can trigger this data flow based on any particular time you want it to run. So you can really configure it in very different, like a lot of different ways. And after I run this data flow, right? So if I go to data, and I will say this data flow is ready for me, like meshed I should see like those datas are ready for me. Like I can go ahead download the data, right? If I go to all data sets, um, and I will be able to see export data. So I can export the data into Excel format. So and this is the one essentially being matched by Domo for me, and they should give me the exactly same result that Alteryx has. So this is one of the ways to run a cloud-based ETL tools to do the reconciliation and all that. So and Domo is really good just because it can connect, like I showed you before. If I go to data, um, if I go to connectors, it can directly connect with some of your cloud-based ERPs like NetSuite. Imagine you can pull NetSuite data or NetSuite report directly into Domo, and then you can directly build ETL pipelines on top of that data set. And in fact, as a public company, this is how Domo FP&A team has been doing. So they have already automated the majority of the FP&A's forecast work and reporting work within Domo. So as soon as accounting books are closed at Domo, their FP&A process for the most part can be completed within 1 day. And their senior vice president did the live demo with me earlier, and I I was really impressed by how much they can do. So this is just one of the examples how you can leverage the cloud-based Domos to fast track and automate your FP&A process. And similarly, if like desktop ETL, you can use those desktop ETL to build a very, very complex workflow. Here we build a very simple one, right? But if I want to show you some of the more complicated ones, and I have built, for some of the customers out there. And you can tell this workflows is huge, right? And those are the things you can really do to automate your wallpaper, to make your wallpaper really just click a button instead of going back and forth and manually update a lot of things. So I think by now we have already covered the entire second theme, which is ETL. Thank you, guys.